Hey, it's Aaliyah Nye. This is Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
It's the fastest, most unpredictable speedway on Earth.
Iron made this place. Mined, smelted, forged. And every spring, we gather round and celebrate. Iron sharpening iron.
Oh, he gets tattooed!
But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you in Tuscaloosa once again inside Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium at the Advantage Center in our podcast studios as we have recorded another great pair of interviews for you this week. One with softball, one with baseball, focusing on the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's an exciting time to be here at the Capstone, and it's an exciting time to begin this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We'll start the show with our headlines plus what's coming up thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. Let's see what's coming up on the show this afternoon. First things first, we'll be talking softball with Audrey Vandagriff fresh off her walk-off home run against the Oklahoma Sooners to win the series on Monday for Alabama. So we look forward to talking with Audrey Vandagriff to begin our show in this room coming up in just a few moments. Then we'll switch things over to baseball, also in this room with Aeden Finateri, Crimson Tide right-handed pitcher who's been used in a lot of different roles for Alabama this year. Aeden will tell us about that transformation going from Georgia Tech to the University of Alabama. Great conversation with Aeden Finateri. Then, last but not least, we'll hear from the head coach of the Crimson Tide football team, Kalen DeBoer, with Coach's Checklist, as he runs down everything he saw during Saturday's A-Day festivities presented by Golden Flake here inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. Looking at the headlines, we begin with softball, and for a huge reason, picking up a series win against the Oklahoma Sooners, number 2 ranked team in the country. Alabama picking up back-to-back wins on Sunday and then on Monday. That dramatic walk-off home run by Audrey Vandagriff, winning it for the Crimson Tide, bottom of the 8th, setting off a huge celebration at Rhodes Stadium. Great crowds all weekend as well. Just a tremendous weekend for the Crimson Tide. Vandagriff getting that home run. She has been named the SEC Freshman of the Week, and Caitlin Riley also pitched extremely well for the Crimson Tide. She has been named the SEC Co-Pitcher of the Week, so some great honors for those two following a standout performance against the Oklahoma Sooners. Doesn't get any easier for Alabama coming up this weekend. They're taking on the Florida Gators this weekend, a Thursday through Saturday series coming up in Gainesville. For the Crimson Tide baseball team, unfortunately, a series loss against Mississippi State. Outside of Friday's game, really tightly contested ball games on Saturday and Sunday, going up against a really good pitching staff for the Bulldogs. So Alabama trying to bounce back a little bit as the Crimson Tide have now lost back-to-back series against Auburn and Mississippi State. Tuesday night, the Crimson Tide at home against UAB. Now this weekend, it's Alabama taking on the LSU Tigers, and it's another Thursday through Saturday series ahead of the Easter holiday. We look forward to being in Baton Rouge, giving you complete radio coverage of Alabama against LSU this weekend. Then to our notes around Alabama athletics, the gymnastics team preparing for the NCAA championships in Fort Worth. Best of luck, especially to all the gymnasts that have been in this studio over the last few weeks. So we can't wait to see what's ahead for Ashley Johnston and the Crimson Tide, even coming up later today. On Monday night, it was not only a great night for Alabama softball, a great night for Alabama women's basketball, as 3 Alabama players were selected in the WNBA draft, starting with Sarah Ashley Barker, a top 10 pick in the first round, going to the LA Sparks. Only a few picks behind her. Also in the first round, Aaliyah Nye going to the Las Vegas Aces, and then Washington Mystics later on in the third round selecting Zay Green. So that's basically the whole backcourt for the Crimson Tide, all going to the WNBA. First time Alabama's had 3 players selected in a WNBA draft. A historic night for Christy Curry and the Crimson Tide. We're going to talk a lot more about Alabama's women's basketball class going to the WNBA with some of those student athletes coming up next week, and now they're about to be professional athletes. Really excited for what's ahead for all 3 of them. For football, A-Day, of course, closing out spring practice. It really was a lot of fun to be here on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. A lot of fans made their way to watch the final practice of spring practice, but there were still some football scrimmages mixed in, some 7-on-7 work, even 9-on-7, kind of special teams run in a little bit different way than you traditionally see in a scrimmage or a game. So all of that made for a really enjoyable day. I know there were a lot of autographs signed for Yay Alabama members after all the festivities were over. And we had a really fun broadcast as well. I certainly invite you to check it out on demand with what we were able to do with Chris Stewart on the sidelines, getting interviews with Kalen DeBoer, with Ryan Grubb, Kane Womack, players on this year's team, past legends like Trent Richardson joined us. I mean, a really fun broadcast we had this past Saturday. For the men's basketball team, it's going to be a lot of fun, I imagine, on the courtside cam as well next year when Purdue comes to town. The Purdue Boilermakers are coming to town on Thursday, November 13th. It's going to be a great matchup. We've seen Alabama and Purdue, of course, play in the last few years in Toronto, Canada 2 years ago, last year on campus in West Lafayette, Indiana, and now it's Alabama hosting Purdue, Coleman Coliseum, coming up on November 13th. We certainly look forward to that. But, of course, Alabama softball fans still celebrating the great home run that ended Monday night's game, the walk-off homer by Audrey Vandagriff. And I will say it in this interview. I'll say it right again here. We had scheduled this interview before we even knew she'd have heroics like that against the Oklahoma Sooners. She's having a tremendous freshman season, obviously rewarded after the Oklahoma home run with the SEC Freshman of the Week. And on Monday night, we were there, of course, on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Tom Canterbury, Gray Robertson call each and every game for us on radio. We do have a booth cam presented by MLB The Show for that Monday night game, and we want you to watch, first of all, their reaction to the home run before we dive into the interview with Audrey Vandagriff.
This is what makes it great. Now if you're Alabama, this is what you want.
First pitch to Audrey Vandagriff. That one's lined to left. That one's back and gone! Audrey Vandagriff with a walk-off solo homer here in the bottom of the eighth, and the Crimson Tide lead wins it 2-1.
Roll Tide and welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover, great to be with you inside the Advantage Center at our podcast studio at Saban Field. Please be joined now by one of the absolute heroes of Crimson Tide athletics this week, Audrey Vandagriff, fresh off a walk-off homer just hours ago against the Oklahoma Sooners at Rhodes Stadium. Audrey, thank you for joining us. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. I appreciate y'all having me.
Well, we're certainly glad you're here. And of course, didn't really know this when we set up this interview, that you'd be coming off the emotional high of winning a series against Oklahoma on a walk-off home run. If you can, just take us back to Monday night at Rhodes Stadium and everything in that at bat.
Goodness, it was every little girl's dream come true. I've said it many times before, but I really solely relied on my Lord and Savior right there, because man could not have done that by themselves. And I really had a lot of nerves. I had a lot of anxieties, as any human would. And I just gave it up to the Lord right there, and I just said, God, please take my anxieties away from me, and I hand this moment to you. And like I said, gosh, I can't even describe what he did for me last night, and it was awesome.
Such a great mindset to have. From a softball perspective, what was the pitch that you saw?
Honestly, looking back, I didn't know it was an inside pitch. I thought it was outside. I was looking for her screwball, because that's what she had thrown most of the lefties. I was hunting that screwball, and I just took it inside out offo swing, man.
That's such a great swing. Great moment, the celebration. We've been watching the videos over the last 24 hours ever since it happened. How did that celebration for you feel, going around the bases and then greeted at home plate by everybody?
I can't even remember running around the bases or my celebration or anything, because I was such in shock, such in awe. But as soon as I stepped on home plate, my teammates surrounded me. That was the best feeling I could ever imagine. I'll never forget that.
Really great series win for Alabama against Oklahoma, a team that's been atop the sport the last few years. What can a weekend like this do for the Crimson Tide?
I mean, honestly, the last few games, or a couple few games during the season, we've just been right there and then haven't got the job done. But for us to be right there 2 games in a row, us to get the job done is just so encouraging. It just sets us up for the most important part of the season coming up.
What'd you see from Caitlin Riley on Monday?
My gosh, she's like the mom of the team, and she loves everybody. And for us to just give her our best and watch her shine and be behind her back on the field, and just offensively, I mean, she couldn't have done a better job for us this weekend, and I'm so proud of her and Jocelyn.
Yeah, she's kind of the mom of the team. Jocelyn, a little bit younger, a sophomore, but a lot of huge innings under her belt. I mean, you must have a lot of confidence in those two.
Yes, sir, I sure do. And the confidence that they have in me, just as soon as I came to campus and they welcomed me, like, they just made me feel like family. And for me to just step up for them was just an honor.
That's really special. So again, a great moment for Alabama against Oklahoma to get that series win, and now you still have some huge softball coming up,
Mhm.
even this weekend against the Florida Gators. What's the mindset got to be moving forward?
Just stay the course. The best is yet to come. Murph always just preaches on that. I still believe we're still taking off. We still have improvement, but that sure does give us a lot of confidence.
Best is yet to come. We've heard him say that a lot through some key moments in his time as Alabama's head coach. Just what kind of motivator is he for all of you?
He's honestly just a father figure for all the girls. He's super positive, super encouraging. He knows the right words to say in the right time. Everybody has his back. We trust him, and just to buy into him as soon as you step on campus is the most important part.
At this point, does he even have to talk about Mudita as much? We know he shares that message with other sports on campus, but it's so a part of the softball culture.
It really is. I mean, he doesn't really talk about it that much just because it's so present. But in the fall, he preached on it, harped on it. But I mean, it's prevalent in our team today, and there's not one person on the team that's just cheering their hearts out for everybody.
That's really special. A great win for the Crimson Tide again this past Monday night. So that's right where we are. You got the win against Oklahoma. You're looking ahead to Florida. But here on this show, we like to talk about the journey the different student athletes have had to Tuscaloosa. So let's go to the very start. Where are you from?
I'm from Athens, Georgia. Actually, a small town, Bogart, Georgia. It's about 10 miles from Athens. I went to a small Christian school.
What was the connection for your family in Georgia?
What do you mean?
Like how they settled there, like all that.
Oh, okay. So my mom's actually from Alabama, small town in Alabama, right across the Georgia state line. And then my dad's from Knoxville, Tennessee. They met teaching in Georgia and then just kind of settled in Georgia. My first few years of life, I lived in Noonan, Georgia, and we stayed there for about till about my 5th grade year, and that's when we moved to Athens.
So you're near Athens, pretty close to that Georgia campus, seeing a lot of Georgia sporting events. Did you grow up a Georgia fan?
I did not. I grew up that other team in the state of Alabama. That one. Yep.
I had some advanced knowledge that you did, so I set you up for that one. But pretty interesting to grow up, kind of with that perspective. Now you've gotten the perspective of Alabama as well. But the main thing I'm gathering is you've just loved sports and had that competitive drive from the start. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
That's really good. Other sports for you besides softball growing up?
Growing up, I started basketball kind of at a young age, and then towards my middle school years, I started track.
Track, and then when softball entered the picture?
Softball was my first sport, so probably like 4 years old, 5 years old.
And just loved it from the start, right?
Just loved it, yes, sir.
Always kind of hitting outfield work for you? I mean, we've heard your versatility before. Did you ever pitch at any point in your career?
Starting off, I started to pitch. I'd either hit you or walk you. But so I decided quickly that was not my forte. I moved to catching. Just didn't really love it. Wasn't my game. And then I moved to outfield, probably about 12U.
That's really good. So with that, you were able to play, I imagine, some high-level competition in the state of Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
How'd that sharpen your skills and get you ready for college softball?
I mean, just the athletic ability in the state of Georgia, hands down, is one of the best states in softball. And then just being on a high-level travel ball team, going to the Nationals in California and the big tournament in Colorado. Honestly, it just gave me a great, starting point coming into college. And, I mean, playing high-level travel is about as good as it comes before college.
And with all that high-level play comes a lot of high-level attention. I imagine the recruiting process started pretty early for you. Who were some of the first schools you heard from as recruiting started?
As recruiting started, just through like email, mail, it was just the basic SEC schools, LSU, Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, Bama. I really had my heart set on going to the SEC school, so I didn't really give a lot of attention to other schools just because I knew the SEC is about as good as it comes. And so that's kind of where it started.
Did you enjoy having all those programs after you, calling you and staying in touch as much as they could, or did you try and shut it out a little bit, focus on school and softball? How'd you manage all that?
I honestly really, really enjoyed it because it's something you work your whole life for, and then it comes and you can hardly believe it. So I could hardly sleep that night. I just had it was always on my mind, and I wanted to make the right decision, but I knew it would take time, a lot of prayer, a lot of preparation, and it fell in line for me perfectly, honestly.
It really did, especially with your decision for the University of Alabama. Tell us about the recruiting perspective with Alabama and some of the context you had, and then eventually, I hope, coming here to campus, getting to see it for yourself.
So honestly, I did not know anything about Alabama, just the school itself, because I grew up an Auburn fan. So the first time I came to Alabama's campus was actually for a softball camp. I was probably 8 years old, but I just wanted to come for fun. And I came, brought my Auburn blanket, put it on, put it on the dorms as a secret. And spent the night here for, I think it was like a 2 or 3 day camp, but it was awesome. I loved it. But it was just an 8-year-old little girl's dream to come to a college softball camp. And so it wasn't till my official visit that I came back on campus to Alabama. I didn't realize how beautiful it was as an 8-year-old, but as a 16-year-old, I did. I fell in love with it immediately. It was my last visit. And I fell in love with the coaches. I fell in love with the campus, the environment, everything it had to offer.
That's really special. What was it about the coaches that made it seem like these are the right people to guide you over the next few years?
Just the family aspect that they have to the game, and they constantly preach that student over athlete, and you don't see it until you get here and you feel that, and how special they make you feel outside of a softball player. And like I said, if I would have struck out last night, they still would have loved me the same. And I truly do believe that. But they preach that. They preach Murph as a father figure, and he really is one. And he'll do anything for our team, and that's so valuable to me.
That's really special to have that, along with someone like Kayla Bro, who played the game at the highest level, knows what it's like to win here at Alabama. Now she's a coach. She's been around in broadcasting a lot before. How much have you enjoyed getting to know her?
My gosh, she's awesome. Just a great role model for me. She's so well spoken. I look up to her in almost every way she has, whether she knows it or not. But she's taught me so much just by the way she carries herself, by the way she coaches, by the way she raises her daughter. I mean, I just respect her so much, and to be coached under her is just the best feeling ever.
So you got to come here to Tuscaloosa on that official visit, and you make that decision to join the Alabama Crimson Tide for someone that brought an Auburn blanket to this campus years before. What was it like telling your friends and family, this is the spot for me?
Honestly, they did not believe it at first, but as soon as they saw the pictures with me and the jersey on, they were like, yeah, that looks like home for you. And everybody was so excited. They were excited to see me make a name for myself, because I was always Brock's little sister. And for me to go somewhere else and, start my own journey is just awesome. And they really enjoy that.
That's really special. Did you have a good signing day party, like at the high school or the school, or, with friends and family?
Yes, sir. We had it like on National Signing Day in like our church, like sanctuary.
That's really cool.
Yes, sir.
So you get to come here to Alabama. How important was the fall for you to get ready for what was a hot start to the season?
Mm-hmm. So as a coach's kid, my dad just harps on buying in. He wants his kids always to buy into him, and that's why he believes he has so much success. So as a coach's daughter, first time I stepped on campus and we, put our cleats on for the first day of practice, I was like, buy in. I told myself to buy in. So whatever coaches said, I was going to say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And that's what it took. I mean, they know what it takes to be successful at the collegiate level. And so I bought into my teammates, and I've had a lot of success doing that.
You really have. Again, a great start to the season for you. And then pretty early on in your time, you set an Alabama record, 5 stolen bases in one game. Do you take so much pride in your base running?
I really do. I truly believe track prepared me for this. I really fell in love with track during high school. Speed never slumps. And if you get on base, even with a walk, even if your swing's not feeling great, you still have that speed. And that's just a huge trait of mine that I love. I take pride in, and I'm very thankful for.
Yeah, you really supply a lot of pressure out there. Tell us about your hitting approach. What are you really proud of at the plate this year?
I've always been a big believer of simple is more. I kind of take out my step. I just kind of, if you watch, like I just kind of coil, turn my front foot and explode through my back hip, and it slows down my eyes. It allows me to still transfer a lot of weight. I've honestly had a lot of success. I incorporated that about the summer going into my senior year. So I've had it for about 2 years now, but I love the way it feels. I've had a lot of confidence at the plate this year, a lot of success, and it's working for me.
All about really making sure you hit it hard. Are you concerned much with power, or just mainly your bat speed, making sure you hit it hard?
Before I get 2 strikes, I'm trying to look for my pitch, which is, the outside corner of the plate. I am trying to hit the ball as hard as I can. I'm trying to hit the middle of the ball as hard as I can. But then when I get 2 strikes, it's just fighting. I kind of eliminate my bottom half, and I just put the ball in play, because if you put the ball in place, things happen.
They certainly have for you so far with Alabama. How about some of the advanced technology? We've talked before with different players about all the visualization you're able to do, some of the specific computer programs you worked with. How much has that helped you?
It's helped me a lot. Probably helped others more than me, because like I said, I like to stick with my baseballs. If you can hit a baseball, you can hit a softball. So I warm up hitting baseballs, and then I transition into softballs, and that's kind of what I do. But I know a lot of the girls love the there's a tracker like on our bat. It tells our velo, launch angle, everything. There's a hit tracks in the batting cage now. You can see like where your ball is in play, because you're in the cage, not on the field. You can see, your velo, how fast the ball is. A lot of girls really enjoy that. It's honestly really helpful, and we're really thankful for that.
And you can customize the different ballparks as well. I mean, that's got to help you out.
Yes, it's awesome.
Has that been a secret to your success, training with baseballs as opposed to softballs? Does that go back to your childhood too?
Yes, sir. I honestly can't tell you when I have not hit baseballs during BP. I started that with my dad. He's my hitting coach, and I've done it for as long as I can remember.
That's really good. Let's talk about your brother a bit. You mentioned him just a moment ago, Brock Vandagriff, quarterback at the University of Georgia, Kentucky as well. Just how proud are you of him for the success he's had on the field?
I mean, he's honestly just a huge role model for me. I've looked up to him my whole life, and to see him have success in the collegiate level has been awesome. My sister also plays volleyball at Eastern Kentucky, and so just having 2 collegiate athletes in my family, they've had kind of 2 different journeys, but watching them grow, watching them glorify the Lord, watching them just strive to be the best and reach to the top of the level has been so inspiring to me, and the least I could do is try to fill their footsteps.
So you guys are pretty competitive, I imagine, growing up?
Yes, sir.
What were some of the sports you all enjoyed playing with each other the most?
We would do wiffle ball until Brock would peg us. We'd start crying, run inside. We would play Foursquare, and then somebody would cheat. We'd get mad, have to quit. Board games, always found some way, had to quit at the end, because it always ended in a fight, because us 3 are, I think Brock and I are about 4 years apart, and then my brother and my sister are 16 months. So we're pretty close in age. So we always, we're fighting to the death.
That's really good. And then you're all D1 athletes, spread out a little bit across the country. How'd you all really stay in touch and stay engaged with whatever each other had going on?
I was still in high school at the time when Brock was in college, and then he was at Georgia. So I was able to get to see him a good bit. He wasn't playing at the time, but still I got to see the practices, like when they were open. That was really awesome. As well as my sister, I was still in high school, her first 2 years in college. So I was able to travel to Eastern Kentucky with my parents, watch her shine. I mean, now it's obviously a little bit different. Brock's out of college. He's living in Milledgeville, Georgia right now, so he's not too far gone. But Anna is still in Kentucky, so it's hard. I miss them a lot, but they both sent me a video of them crying last night, just so happy, and they never would have thought their little sister would be all grown up.
Yeah, hitting a walk-off home run against Oklahoma for Alabama. That's a really cool experience you've gotten to have. You mentioned when thinking about the home run last night, you didn't necessarily go to the softball part of it first. You went to your faith. How does your faith sustain you both as a student athlete and just your everyday life?
I mean, my whole life I've prayed, God show me my purpose, and I truly believe that my purpose is to play softball and glorify the Lord, and He's given me this opportunity and this platform to make His name bright, not to make mine, and so the least I can do is give Him all the glory because He's supplied me the power, He's supplied me the path, the strength, and He's given me the platform, and now it's my time to show Him the glory.
And I'm sure you met a lot of athletes on this campus who feel the exact same way and have really brought that into their own different sports.
Yes, sir.
How meaningful is that just to have that shared connection and watch them get to do that as well?
I mean, it's just awesome just seeing athletes all across the campus glorifying the Lord for a greater purpose because ultimately it's not about the sport, it's about His glory, and it's awesome.
Feel like this freshman year is going pretty fast?
It has.
We still have a lot of season coming up. What's the focus going to be? Are you going to play any summer ball, anything like that coming up?
No, sir. I'm definitely going to take some time off. I truly believe in taking time off, resetting and getting back at it. But other than that, I'm going to play some pickleball this summer.
There you go. That's really good plans. And hopefully that's after a trip to Oklahoma City in the Women's College World Series. As we start to wrap things up, just what's going to be most important for the softball team to focus on? You've had a lot of success now, but how do you keep it moving forward?
Yes, sir. I truly believe we just stay the course, just show up to practice every single day with the same mindset of just staying the course. It's opening day, no runs carry over, and just keeping that, just loving each other's because everybody's going to bring their best, but sometimes it's not going to be the best. And so just knowing that everybody's not perfect, but it's going to take everybody to win every single game.
We look forward to seeing what's ahead for Audrey Vandagriff as well as the Alabama softball team. Just thank you so much for the time you've given us. Congratulations again on a great start to your freshman year, and best of luck. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate it. Roll Tide.
Alabama racing is back. Don't miss the opportunity to experience the NASCAR Cup Series at Talladega. Witness the return of racing on April 27th and be a part of NASCAR's biggest and baddest track. From the blistering speed on the track to the unparalleled fan access of the Talladega Garage experience, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Tickets are on sale now. Secure your seats today at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Audrey Vandagriff, the hero of the Oklahoma series for the Crimson Tide, and another hero of an Oklahoma series in baseball earlier this season was Aeden Finateri, who got the start on Sunday's rubber match of the series, put Alabama in a great position to win that series against the Oklahoma Sooners. He joined us in this studio as well to talk about his career, even going from prep school baseball in Connecticut to Georgia Tech and now here to the University of Alabama. Fun conversation with Alabama baseball's Aeden Finateri about the 2025 Crimson Tide. Roll Tide and welcome back to the Advantage Center at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I'm Roger Hoover. Now pleased to be joined by Aeden Finateri in our podcast studio as we talk Crimson Tide baseball as we're at the midway point now of the SEC schedule, just past midway for this whole year. And first of all, Aeden, Roll Tide, how have you enjoyed being a part of the Alabama Crimson Tide?
Yeah, most definitely. It's been a great experience. I'm happy to put our head down and keep working, but it's been great so far.
Yeah, we've enjoyed seeing you pitch for the Crimson Tide and really a variety of roles. Have you been proud you've been able to be a midweek starter sometimes, started on the weekend, also out of the bullpen some?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any way I can help the team. Obviously this is my senior year. I've been, every role you could imagine leading up to this point just throughout my college career. And obviously we have a lot of talented arms, so wherever they need to see me fit, more than willing to help the team, and just glad I get to pitch for the Tide.
What's it been like competing in the SEC? Great experience in the ACC. Again, they had half the field of the World Series last year too. But, yeah. I mean, the SEC truly is a tough baseball league.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, a different animal, just like 1 through 9. Like, it's not like you're taking any batters off. Like, you look up at the scoreboard, you'll see, like, the 9-hole have, like, 4 home runs sometimes. Like, there's power threats 1 through 9. So, just taking the game batter by batter, pitch by pitch, and, just locking in until, they tell you you're done.
How about the road atmospheres we played in too?
It's been amazing. That's one of my favorite parts, like the thrill and adrenaline rush you get, like playing in front of a big crowd, whether it's at the Joe or, away at Auburn or whatever. Like, it's nothing like it. It's crazy.
And even though the baseball may be a little similar between the SEC and the ACC, is that one of the separators, just the fan interest around these
schools?
Yeah,
100%. Especially, it's like there's no off weekends in the SEC. Like, no matter where you go, no matter where they are, in terms of conference play, it's going to be packed and sold out, and maybe you want to get that sometimes in the ACC. So it's definitely, nice to know that every time you, go out onto the field, there's going to be a couple thousand, if not more, people watching you play.
Well, and that leads to some charged up atmospheres. And for you, we've talked about the different roles you've had already this season. You get the start, Game 3 of the Oklahoma series, with the series on the line here in Tuscaloosa with Riley Quick out that weekend. Just take us through your mindset, the preparation you had for that, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, Q's been a bulldog for us all year. Like, great guy, even better teammate. And just, having the opportunity to, fill in his shoes and, pick up a spot for, a start was great. And, I went out there. It was a rubber match. The series was tied 1-1. Oklahoma's like the number 10 or something team at the time. We get that win Friday night, and then we lose Saturday, and then Sunday we have the rubber match, obviously. But I was doing everything in my power to put our team in an opportunity to win, and we ended up coming out with it.
Yeah, how do you feel like you had success, especially against that lineup, because they're one of the better hitting teams in the
Yeah,
ACC?
definitely. They're definitely stayed in the strike zone. They didn't chase, which is tough for a pitcher because you got to keep it in the zone. But the main thing for me was just get ahead. And JJ and I kind of like talked about a pitch count before, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm just going to put my head down and keep throwing and keep, in my mind, like throwing punches until he comes and like the bell rings and gets me out. And, I looked up and it was like the end of the fourth and he came out and grabbed the ball, and I was just satisfied that I was able to go that long for the team.
How would you describe your style on the mound? What are you trying to do?
I mean, I guess I would describe myself as like a bulldog. I don't throw 98. I don't have like crazy heat or crazy slider or anything, but I can mix really well and locate, and I feel like that's what makes me effective. Obviously, like we mentioned, this is my, senior year, so I've been around a lot, and I know the ups and downs of baseball and how it could have you down in the dumps sometimes. So just having that experience and like knowing that myself and helping my teammates whenever they need help and just kind of explaining like, hey, I've, might have been in your shoes before, but so you're going to come out on the other side, like I promise. But so I just attribute that to how I pitch.
I feel like those skills have been sharpened here during your time, especially working with your pitching coach, Jason Jackson.
Most definitely, yeah. Between just the pitching coach and just, you walk into the field every day and everyone's, want and hunger to get better is what really drives me. Like you walk in and you got freshmen during band practice that their pants are covered in grass because they're, working their tail off in any way they can. And it's just, you have 40-something guys pouring all they got into this whole team and to craft and make each other better and, bounce off one another in like an iron sharpens iron sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Iron Tide. We kind of see that sign in the dugout. Do you love that kind of tough, rugged mentality this group has?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what, makes us really good and is scary for a lot of teams. Like, we play for each other and we're going to go out there and scrap and fight for 9 innings. And that just, like, even when I'm not pitching, just watching, like, fires me up. And I love cheering my guys on because of that.
Pretty fun atmosphere in the dugout?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have like it's a good mix of like, the younger and then the older crowd. And then, just like we have some funny guys on team, some serious guys, and just like everyone meshes well in our weird way. And just, it's great.
All right, here are the funnier guys.
You're putting me on the spot here.
I got one idea, Brendan Norton.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. We've had him in this room. So
no,
we
definitely
know all
a great guy. I mean, it's weird. Like, I'm not trying to just like hype everyone, but everyone's like funny in like their own way. Like you got JY, who's like the young freshman who's gonna, give seniors like crap sometimes just for messing around. Like, but JY is definitely one of them. Obviously, Brendan Norton, Richie Bottomalo is pretty good. When you get him and G-Stat together, it's crazy.
Yeah,
those two are funny. Yeah,
I bet. We had Bryce Fowler in the room, and he talked about Bonamolo and LeBron getting the blonde hair. And I asked if that's going to spread throughout the team. Bryce kind of thought at some point yes, but I guess not for you.
Possibly, yeah. No, I'm not into dyeing my hair, but it looks good on them, so I just can't pull it off.
What about using Will Platner as your barber?
I have thought about that because I recently I was getting faded this summer, and then I said, I'm going to grow it out for the season, but it actually crossed my mind last night. Should I go back to getting faded? So if I do get faded, it will be by Will Platner.
Keep an eye out for that in the next few weeks for the Crimson Tide. So again, that makes for a fun atmosphere because it is such a long season. There's so many baseball games you have to play, so you got to keep it loose, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Coach Vaughn says it all the time. Like in this league, it's who can ever withstand the punch and the punch and not get derailed off their season. I think that's a good thing for the type of guys we have and the mindset we have as a whole team. So, but yeah, I mean, we're only halfway through, and it feels like I've been here for 2 years, and it's not. It's only been a couple months. So, but just like keeping our heads down and staying together and working is what's going to keep us together and make us have a lot of success.
Is that really the message he's had the last couple of weekends after the good start to SEC play, back-to-back series losses against Auburn, Mississippi State? But you guys have been right there in all those games.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's been his thing the whole year. Like we swept A&M, and he's like, hey, like this league's the team that can withstand the punch, and like even when we weren't winning, we were on our hotting streak. Like the message was always the same, and when we lose, the message is the same. I think the scary thing about us is that we know our identity and we know who we are. Even though we are going through a rough patch right now, just knowing who you are and having faith in that is going to, push us and kick us out of what we're in right now.
That should fire Tide fans up for what's coming up second half of the SEC season. So that's where we are right now. Let's back it all the way up to the beginning of your baseball journey. So first of all, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Watertown, Connecticut.
Okay,
Yeah.
Just outside of Hartford, or where in that area?
About 40 minutes. I actually went to school, a prep school, Avon Old Farms, like right next to Hartford in Avon. So, yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the Hartford area.
Oh, that's pretty good. So was baseball always your first number one sport?
It was, yeah. I played, in high school, more like middle school, I played football, baseball, basketball. Got to high school, freshman year, was playing varsity football. Got concussed at halftime, and then I was like, all right, this is like, I won too many concussions for me. And then I transitioned because our high school didn't have like gym, so you had to play 2 competitive sports. So I played squash, which I'd never heard of. I thought squash was a food until I went to Avon. But it's like a racquetball game that was pretty fun. And we're playing against like these 8th grade teams because I was on like, they called it thirds. It's like the one below JV because I was just like, I've never played the sport before. And they would send us to like these middle schools to play the middle school kids. And, I'm getting whooped around by a kid that's 100 pounds and I'm like 220 pounds bouncing off the glass. And I was like, what am I doing right now? But I played that my sophomore, junior year. And then obviously baseball. But yeah, baseball's always been my love and joy.
Did you live on campus at Avon?
I did, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I was like 30 minutes away from home. It's kind of like you could Google, it's like a Hogwarts type look to the school. It's pretty cool.
So kind of Dead Poet Society kind of feel around that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of buddies go on to the Ivy League and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's a big hockey school. They got a lot of big time hockey players. There's a few like football names that'll come out of there, but like mainly hockey, lacrosse, football. And there's like George Springer went to Avon. So there's a few good baseball names, but yeah, it's mainly a hockey school.
Were you ever able to connect with him, George Springer?
He stops by. Him and the head coach are really close, so he would come by like once a year. You see him like working out in the off season in the gym and just like checking in and saying hello to the team and all that. So I did see him a few times.
So again, you're going to a great prep school in New England. Were you starting to hear from a lot of colleges? What was the recruiting process like?
Yeah, the recruiting process was interesting. I was a freshman in high school, and I originally committed to Boston College my freshman year, and then I was playing baseball up in the north mainly, and then Team Elite reached out to me, which is a travel team out of Georgia, and then I started spending my summers down there, and that was like the first time I had really like stayed in Georgia or like the South in general for an extended amount of time. And I was like, I really like this, like the warm weather, the baseball, just like the Southern hospitality, everything about it. So I ended up decommitting from Boston College and going to Georgia Tech. And that's where I ended up for the past 3 years.
That's a really great program with a lot of baseball history, tradition, probably one of the better ballparks, one of the sight lines you can get in college baseball,
definitely.
Right?
Yeah. No, the skyline in the back is pretty beautiful. Yeah.
That's really good. How did they help you make that transition to college baseball? What was kind of some early learning moments you had getting to pitch at that level?
I mean, it was definitely just the mental part of the game. Like in high school, like you could just throw a fastball by everyone and like occasionally mix in a slider and like you're in a good spot. But like when you get to college, like you realize like that you thought you had the game figured out and like you're nowhere close. And I think the biggest thing that like I learned my freshman year is you have those seniors who have done it for at least 3 years now, or maybe 4, depending on eligibility and all that. But like they know the ropes, and that's who you got to lean on and just like constantly pick their brain. And like that's I think the best thing I did as a freshman was I sat down with Chance Huff, who's our Friday guy at the time, and I was just like constantly picking his brain, like asking him certain things. And like even when I would struggle, like he would help me, or even when I was going well, like help me and just bouncing ideas off one another. So that was like a big thing for me, just finding an older guy and always asking him the tough questions, or when you're going down, like, hey, like, what do you think I should go from here?
We talked about your different roles for Alabama. Just tell us the different roles you had as a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, so I had a really good fall my freshman year. So we started off the year, I was the Sunday guy. And then like a week before conference play, lost the Sunday role, which I was like, all right, like finally got humbled, like this is good. Then I ended up pitching against Georgia on like the back half relief because we played them in like a series every year. I ended up throwing like 3 scoreless, and I was like, all right, like I found my role out of the pen. So my freshman year, I was like mid relief out of the pen, like high leverage situation. Sophomore year, had like the same role, and then halfway through the season turned into a starter. So I was starting on Saturdays. And then last year, I was our Saturday guy to start the year, and then like a quarter of the way through was the Friday guy for the rest of the year.
Do you like that pressure of being the Friday night starter?
Yeah, I do. The thing that I like about it is like as the Friday guy, you like set the tone for the weekend, and if you do have a good outing, like you can set the blueprint for the whole staff and how you're gonna attack guys. So that was like the role I liked about it.
That's really good. So again, great time at Georgia Tech, and then you're thinking about your senior year. What made the transfer portal an option for you, and then what made Alabama stand out?
Yeah, I mean, always in the back of my mind, like you're around college sports and all that, and like you always hear like the SEC, it just means more. And then like when you're like not in college, like playing college baseball at the time, you're like, oh, like yeah, maybe. Then like you see it, and like this conference is so competitive that you have teams with like 13 conference wins are in tournaments, and like that just shows you how good the talent is here because like we have like this league teams will just beat up on each other, and then you look at Omaha and it's half the ACC teams and it's half the SEC. But in the back of my mind, like I always just wanted to experience like the highest level of baseball and like at the collegiate level and even the pros if that's an opportunity for me one day. But just like to be around the best and play the best, like that's what I wanted to be a part of.
And you get to do that every single week here at Alabama. When in the recruiting process did Alabama start to stand out to you?
I mean, right off the bat, kind of when I entered the portal, I had like a previous relationship with Coach Vaughn. He recruited me out of high school a little bit while he was still at Maryland. So I like knew him there. So it was a familiar face. So like when I entered the portal and I was getting phone calls and all that, it was like I was, talking to him for like the 7th time just because of like our high school relationship. But I just really love like what, he embodies and how he is as a head coach and like a mentor for his players and all that. And then obviously I got introduced to JJ, just his mind on pitching and like how he goes about things I really fell in love with. And like Coach Mo, same thing, like pitching guy background. Obviously does stuff with the catchers and the pitchers, but just having like those great minds around, like helping fine tune you like was a no doubter for me.
Did you get to come here before you made your decision?
I did, yeah. I came before I actually toured the facility and saw this room and all that. And I was walking, I was like, that would be cool, but like I'm never gonna be on a podcast. Like then here I'm sitting here now. So but no, yeah, it was just cool because like I remember like being a little kid watching Alabama football games on the TV with my dad, and I'd be like it felt like fairyland. It was like that place isn't real. Like I'm never gonna see that. But now I'm here and just like living out my last year of college baseball has just been absolutely great.
Well, that's really good. So you got to come here, got to see Sewell Thomas Stadium, all the great facilities. Did that make it kind of an easy decision, especially with the relationships you had with the coaches?
Yeah, definitely. I would say it was more like the relationships what like made the decision, but like everything, like this university as a whole is just a cherry on top. Like the people, like the standard basically of college sports, just like playing here has been amazing.
And of course, you're coming in for your first year at Alabama. A lot of other guys are too, whether it's transfer portal, some freshmen coming in, but just being around you guys back in February, it seemed like you guys have been playing together for 3 years. Yeah. It seemed like kind of a veteran group. Just what was the kind of team bonding you all did in the fall to really come together and have a tight bond?
I would have to contribute that to like one, the personalities, but also just like two, the experiences. Like you have a lot of like older guys that we brought in, and just like having that background and like when you're an older guy and it's like whether it's your 3rd or 4th year around college baseball, like that like the locker room and like your team and your guys, like that's everything. Like you could have a team full of all-stars, but if you don't gel together correctly, you're not going to go anywhere. So I think just a mixture of like having the older guys that like knew that in the back of their mind, but also just having like younger guys with like great personalities and great mindsets and like they want to show up to the field every day and work. Like it's really easy for everyone to gel when you're all like pulling on a rope in the same direction.
Of course, there are a lot of Alabama kids on this roster, and
yeah.
You see that with nearly every SEC team, whatever their home state is. But there's also a bit of an East Coast flair with this group as well. Do you guys kind of bond together? The guys that come from Connecticut, New York, Jersey, all that?
Yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely like it's a tight knit group, Northeast baseball, because it's not like it's the South where it's as big. So you definitely know each other and all that. But the craziest thing for me was the second semester of my senior year, I went to IMG because of COVID for baseball. So I ended up playing there. So like I've like played with Brady Neal before. I've played with Packy Bradley Cooney before, Carson Keeney, like all those kids. Like it was just weird how like baseball ends up working out. And it's like kids, like I played travel ball with Colson growing up on team weight. So it's just like weird how the connection like all lines up down the road. It's just crazy.
Now, did you ever face Jason Torres in a Tech Miami game?
I actually didn't. He
Okay.
that was right when he got injured. Unfortunately, it was like literally they were traveling to come play us, and that was when he got hurt.
But now you're glad he's on your
Yeah,
side.
no, I'm glad I didn't face. I actually had a good outing against Miami that year, and it might have been a little different if Torres was in the box. So I'm not happy that he was hurt by any means, but it was good that okay for me that he was out of the lineup that day.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you come to Alabama. What's your first impression of Justin LeBron?
I mean, it's just crazy. Just I obviously heard the name, you know who he is. Like if you watch any sort of baseball or even probably have an ESPN app, you know who Justin LeBron is. But the craziest thing for me was just like you have someone that's like so talented and so good at his craft and what he does, just the way he goes about his business. Like it's very easy for him to like fall in a hole, and like LeBron could probably be the cockiest guy in the world and like no one would say a thing to him, but he's not at all. Like he's the one who's staying after, helping, talking to the younger guys, like coaching up them. Like he was just a freshman last year, like guiding them through that. Just like his mindset and how mature he is for, being a sophomore was like what was the most mind-blowing thing to me.
Yeah, an amazing shortstop. Again, off to a great year as a sophomore. You work with all your infielders, of course, but especially your catchers, Brady Neal, Will Plattner. How key have they been to your success?
I mean, they've been great. Like each one of them, they're like unique in their own ways. Like Platt's got that like gritty mentality about them, and like Brady's more of like that like silky smooth catcher like type ordeal. But like both of them have been great. They're two bulldogs, like great bats, great catchers. Like I love throwing them, and like no complaints at all. Just the work ethic they both have and how tough they both are. Like they embody what Alabama baseball is, and it's been a pleasure to throw to them.
Of course, they're pushing the buttons as the catcher with the pitch comm device.
Yeah.
Just tell our fans, what are you guys actually hearing in your ball cap or glove
So,
when the pitch comes in?
This is pretty good. So it's actually Brett, Coach Price, the strength coach. It's his voice. So he'll
Like pre-programmed in there?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
pre-programmed. Yeah. So it used to be Case and Rainey, who was like our assistant pitching coach, but he got a new job with the Reds. So then we reprogrammed it like right before the season. It was kind of like subtly announced, but we had like a scrimmage and like you hear the pitch comm and it's Coach Price's voice and he's going heater away. So it's kind of funny. So it's like obviously when you're in the weight room, like Price will be yelling at you, motivating you to move some weight. So I kind of liked it because it's like transition on the mound. It's almost like you're in the weight room, like it's time to work when you hear his voice going through your ear. So yeah, JJ will press a button and it'll be like fast or heater away or slider away. And then it's when we shake or like we can't hear it that the catcher will tap it in again.
That's really good.
Yeah,
So you
it's
hear
crazy.
Brett Price's voice the whole time you're out there.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
You do.
How much has he helped you getting to be in the weight room? You guys have your own facilities, but I imagine you use the football stuff as well too.
Yeah. We occasionally use that. Obviously, it's a lot easier for the pitchers because there's not as many as us, and like throwing gets broken up. So we mainly work out at the Joe. But no, it's been great. I mean, to be completely honest, like I came into the fall a little bit overweight, so I was in there working with him and the nutrition staff real early to get me where I needed to be. And it's been great. He's been pushing me, like hitting all the right buttons, and I'll be like, hey, like when I'm throwing, like I'm feeling this, and he's like, all right, like let's do this exercise, or hey, this is like a little sore today from throwing yesterday. Like, is there any way we can modify the workout? He's like, yeah, no problem. He always has like 2 or 3 extra things to do better. But I mean, the greatest thing about him is like he's not the type of strength coach where it's like closed off, doesn't want to talk like all toughness. Like, yeah, he's one tough guy, but like he also reasons with you, and he's also has feel where it's like we have a really long season. Like, I'm not going to try to kill you guys because the risk of injury is going to go up. Don't get me wrong, he still gets us good, but it's like the perfect mesh of like strength coach, but like also like has feel for your body and how long the year is.
Yeah, and with how long the year is, I mean, people don't realize. I mean, you can lose muscle as a baseball season goes along if you're not lifting.
It's
right?
crazy, yeah. And that's the biggest thing. Like we'll do like tune-ups like on Monday and Wednesday. Like I'll have a lift later today, but it's just like the the mix of all that, and then he has like the hitters doing primer lifts right before, so it's almost like a stretch almost in a way, but it's a little bit weighted just for like explosiveness. It's crazy. Like I've never experienced that part of like the workout side in college sports, so it's been great.
Yeah, that's a great experience as a student athlete. Part of that is being a student. How have you enjoyed just being a student at a huge school like this compared to a small prep school like you had in New England?
Yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, the craziest part is just like, one, how many people are here, and two, like the campus is absolutely beautiful. Like when I was at like Georgia Tech, it was nice campus and all that, but I'd like scooter around. But like here, like I don't know, it could be just because I'm a senior and I'm like, this is my last year. But like I park my car and I'm like, I'm gonna take all this in. Like I walk everywhere, so I'll walk to class, walk through the quad, and just like take it all in. But I mean, it's absolutely stunning. Like the weather's great today. Like the sun, I think it's cool how all the bricks are matching on the campus. They pointed that out in my visit. But just like the whole landscape as a whole, and just like the school camaraderie around the sports here, like it's been amazing.
So with your time between Georgia Tech and Alabama, do you have a degree from Tech? Kind of what's the focus then academically?
No, so I was only transferred out as a junior, so I had obviously the 2 more semesters to complete, and I was a business management at Georgia Tech, and then the degree that enabled for me to graduate on time this year, I'm in HES here, so I'll be graduating with an HES degree.
That's really good. What do you think life would be like for you after baseball? Hopefully, again, a long career coming up in big leagues, but what after that? Maybe?
That's a great question. My dad owns a construction company, and I've been kind of, he taught me a little bit of toughness by, having me on the job site from a young age, carrying, lumber and all that. So I do have a love for construction. Not that I would necessarily want to be a construction like worker and working, but more on the business side. I've also always had like aspirations in real estate and thought that was really cool. Like my aunt does commercial real estate in Florida, so that was also like a interesting, way for me. But I honestly have no idea. But I'm sure I'll be thinking long and hard somewhere in the near future. So when the time comes, the time comes. But something around either real estate or building construction, one of those two.
Yeah, we'll let you focus on that after, again, many, many years of pro baseball in your future. But now you've got 5 weekends left in SEC play. Just what's going to be the focus for this team? What is this group capable of in the next few weeks?
I mean, I think we're capable of doing a whole lot of damage, but I think the biggest thing for us is just sticking with who we are, and that's what got us going and got us hot. So it's just like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But just a sense of like, not trying to do too much. Like we're going to play our game. It's more than good enough. We can compete with anybody when we stick with that plan. So I think that's what, we're going to come out of the gate with this second half, and it's going to turn out real well.
Well, you're going to go to some hostile road environments starting this week with LSU. And, of course, your name, Aeden Finateri. A lot of people will just turn their heads and go, like, Vinatieri? Like Adam Vinatieri? Have you heard that kind of all throughout your life?
Yeah, I've got that a lot. And they're like the kicker? And I was like, yeah, but like the kicker with an F in the front. Yeah. But, no, it's been funny to hear that. That's always been a good one, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Well, you're doing great for Alabama in a variety of different roles. Just thank you so much for the time you've given us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Best of luck the rest of the way. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Iron made this place. But in order to take it all home, you need nerves of steel. The big one is back. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Saban Field, Bryant-Denny Stadium was certainly buzzing on Saturday with Alabama holding the Golden Flake A-Day festivities and the final practice of Spring Practice 2025 under second-year head coach Kalen DeBoer. He met with the media a few days later in the Malmore Athletic Complex to discuss what he saw from Alabama, not just on A-Day, but really all throughout this spring and kind of where everything stands for the Crimson Tide. Now that spring practice has come to a close, we're getting ready for the summer, then fall camp just around the corner, as well as the 2025 Alabama football season. But here are some thoughts from Kalen DeBoer in this week's Coach's Checklist.
Good morning, and just a few opening comments, and just want to thank everyone who came out on Saturday. Appreciate our guys and their efforts, and get a chance to see them on the field, but also get a chance to interact afterwards, and it was great to spend some time with the fans myself too, and appreciate y'all coming out. It's a beautiful day. A lot of activities around campus, and so hopefully you took in a few of those as well. But it was back to work today, and that's our team's mindset right now. Is at a short team meeting, but back in the weight room, and we're 100 days away roughly from training camp, and we talk about taking advantage of every opportunity. And these guys back to work today. The next 2 weeks, lots of workouts, some individual one-on-one meetings that we would do anytime at the end of the season, at the end of the spring. So we're doing a lot of that. Guys taking care of their schoolwork, and then finals after that, and they'll have a short break. But I think the momentum that we carry here into May is critical. The next 3 months or so, 100 days, is really going to set up the 6 months to follow. And, the question that we've been challenging our guys with going back to January when we saw the want to, we saw the desire is, can you sustain that level of intensity? And, refer to it as competitive stamina often, and that might be in the midst of the practice, it might be throughout the course of the week or a certain, scrimmage. It might just even be for one play, but for us, that competitive stamina and related to what I'm talking about is can we carry it through each phase of the off season, and then that leading to us just having this way about us, how we do things, an edge to us that carries us through the entire fall. So I'm excited about the strides we made. I think there's some depth that's being created in our team. Referred to it kind of maybe as a blessing in disguise that we had so many guys that were out still kind of going back to last season. I think it really, allowed us, forced us, in some ways to get a lot of guys more reps than they maybe would have had. And that's going to help us be a deeper and better team down the road. Yeah, I think you're just always looking to find the right person that fits who you are as a program, someone who can make your team better, our roster better. So we have just a couple scholarships really available to us. So we'll be careful, and they got to meet all those areas that we feel good about, the culture of our team, the chemistry from within, the work that's being put in. So, I like the combination of attrition and addition that we've had, whether it's high school guys coming in, 18 of our 21 guys were here, that we signed in December. And so, they aren't going to feel like freshmen this summer. And then also a few of the transfers have come in and really done a nice job blending in as well and defining their roles more and more every single day, asking more out of them from a leadership standpoint. So we'll be super careful on what we do with the portal. There are some areas where we do know if we have the right person pop up, we would take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of great things they've all done. Ty continues to I think move trend upward. I think all of them have really, added to their game. They're all at different spots because Keelan's learning the system. The other two know it better, for sure. And Ty, has been around and, just has done a nice job. I think the trending upward is a big piece of it. Ty's an accurate thrower. There's always going to be balls that every guy wants back, but I think the ability to learn from your mistakes, learn from other people's mistakes, be able to comprehend things, not be overwhelmed to think that, he's just had more time. But they're all doing a lot of really good things together as a group. But now I will say, we're not where we need to be at the quarterback position yet. And so, I feel like that exists within our team to have that level be accomplished. But this is part of the process. I shared with our team, we're not where we need to be as a team. I hope we don't ever think that. It's never been that case everywhere I've been. Any year I've been a part of to where you finish spring ball in April and you're like, okay, we're good to go. People ask, are you ready for the season? No, I'm not. We got a lot of work to do between now and August, and that's the case, I think, with the quarterback position.
There is nothing like Sweet Home Talladega. Don't miss out on NASCAR's return to Talladega Superspeedway on April 27th for the Jack Links 500. This is more than racing. This is Talladega. Purchase your tickets today at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Last weekend was really busy at home in Tuscaloosa. This week is really busy on the road away from Tuscaloosa with some softball and baseball series hitting the road. We'll tell you about that, what's coming up here on our upcoming schedule on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Well, I mentioned softball and baseball, both on the road and both playing Thursday through Saturday series. For the baseball team, it all begins later tonight, 7 o'clock against the LSU Tigers in Baton Rouge, and then softball a little earlier than that at 5 o'clock as they start their series with the Florida Gators. Invite you on Friday as well to check out one of the newest episodes of Tide TV This Week on our TV affiliates across the state, as well as on demand at RolledTide.com, and then baseball at 6 and softball at 5 o'clock on Friday. Then an earlier start for softball coming up on Saturday at 1 p.m. The baseball team will play at 5 o'clock. Nothing scheduled on the Easter holiday on Sunday, and then we will be back for Hey Coach coach in Tuscaloosa coming up on Monday at 6 p.m. That will be our final head coach in Tuscaloosa this year. We are going to have a head coach down in Foley, Alabama coming up on April 28th. But for our last one at Baumhauer's Victory Grill, that'll be in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you make plans to join us coming up on Monday, April 21st. Make sure you follow us as well at UA_CTSN for the very latest on Alabama athletics, plus some booth clips hopefully from this weekend as Alabama hopes to get some wins in baseball against the LSU Tigers and in softball against the Florida Gators. And that's going to wrap up this week's edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. We have to say thank you to our guests that have joined us in this very room, Audrey Vandagriff, the SEC Freshman of the Week in softball, plus Alabama baseball's Aeden Finateri. Thanks as well to Lexi Graber and Jenna Johnson from our Advantage Center offices setting up those interviews. And, of course, Ethan Carabin producing not only those interviews, our booth cams that you saw earlier in the show as well, but everything for us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, including this show. We thank Ethan for his fine work as always. For all of us with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, this is Roger Hoover saying thank you for watching. Have a happy Easter weekend. Let's hope we talk about more Crimson Tide wins coming up next week on Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Until then, have a great Easter. So long, everyone.